There is a glass jar on a windowsill in an Amish kitchen. The morning sun comes straight through it. Inside that jar is $62, folded flat and pressed down. Down tight. That family has never carried a credit card balance in their lives. They never will. They have raised 7 children on jars exactly like that one. No bank ever owned a single morning of their lives. No stranger ever told them what they could and could not afford. $62 in a jar on a windowsill, and more freedom in it than a man with a 6-figure salary and a wallet full of plastic will ever taste. Now hear me plainly. There is a man in a glass tower who hopes you never look at that jar. Every month you carry a balance, he grows a little richer. You hand him $30 and you call it interest. He calls it a paycheck he never worked for. He did not lift a shovel. He simply waited for you to owe him. And he is counting on you never learning the one rule I am about to show you tonight. My name is Samuel. I am Amish. I have never borrowed a dollar in my life, not once, not ever. I have watched proud men in fine cars lose everything to a number on a statement. And I have watched plain men who owed nothing sleep easy through every storm that came. So I am going to show you the one rule that keeps a family out of debt for life. No loans, no banks, no permission from anyone. And I am going to show you exactly why it works. The rule costs nothing. Not $1. You do not need an app. You do not need a class. You do not need a single thing you do not already own tonight. Here is the rule, as plain as I can say it. You only spend money you can hold in your hand. That is the whole rule. Read it again. You only spend money you can hold in your hand. It sounds too simple to matter. The man in the glass tower is counting on you thinking that. He has spent a fortune teaching you that money is a number on a screen, a tap, a swipe, a glowing little light. He needs you to forget that money is a real thing you can fold and stack and run out of. Because the day you remember, his whole game is over. So let me show you what this rule looks like at your own kitchen table tonight. You take your income for the month, the real number, the one that lands in your hands after work. And before you spend a single dollar on anything you merely want, you turn that money into cash. Then you sort it into jars, or envelopes, or whatever you have in the drawer. It does not matter what you use. It matters that you can see it. 1 jar for rent, 1 jar for food, 1 jar for power and heat, 1 jar for the things that keep your family alive and warm and fed. You write the name on each one in pencil, because some months the numbers change and a pencil tells the truth without complaint. You fill each jar with the cash it needs for the month. And here is the part that the screen can never do for you. When a jar is empty, you are finished. You are done spending on that thing until the month turns over. There is no card to reach for. There is no overdraft to lean on. There is no friendly little message that says you have been approved for more. When the food jar holds $11 and it is the 28th of the month, you eat from the pantry and you wait. And you do not borrow against next month to feed a want today. The empty jar is not a punishment. The empty jar is the truth. And a family that lives inside the truth never wakes up owing a stranger. Let me show you the numbers, because numbers do not lie. Say your work brings home $2,800 this month. You sit down at the table and you divide it before it can scatter. $900 goes in the rent jar, $600 in the food jar, $200 for power and heat, $150 for the fuel in the tank. You keep going until every dollar that keeps your family alive has a jar and a name. What is left over, say it comes to $350. That is the only money you are free to spend on a want, not a dollar more. When that jar runs empty, the wanting is over until the month turns. You did not need a banker to tell you that. The jar told you. And the jar never lies, never charges you interest, and never calls your house at supper. Now let me kill a myth right here, because it keeps good people poor for their whole lives. They tell you cash is old-fashioned. They tell you it is unsafe, that you will lose it, that only a foolish man keeps money in a jar. Hear me. The man who told you that sells cards for a living. He did not warn you because he cares about your safety. He warned you because every dollar in your jar is a dollar he cannot charge interest on. A jar on your shelf earns him nothing. A balance on your card earns him near 20 cents on the dollar every year, forever. So he calls the jar foolish and the card smart. He has the whole thing turned exactly backward, and he did it on purpose. Here is why this rule works, and it is not what the experts will tell you. Money you cannot see, you will not spend. When your dollars sit in an account, glowing on a screen, they feel like air. They are not real to the part of your mind that decides. So they slip away on nothing. A little here, a little there, gone by Friday, and you cannot even name where they went. But cash in a jar, stacked by your own hand, you guard that. You feel it leave the room. You feel the jar grow light. That is not willpower. That is just how the mind was built. The plain people have known this for 200 years. The glass tower spent billions of dollars teaching you to forget it. And there is a second reason, older than any bank. A card hides the cost. It splits one painful moment into 30 small painless ones, and the mind does not flinch at small. You would never hand a stranger $400 for a thing you did not need. But you will tap a card for it without blinking, because the card whispers that it is only $15 a month. The card is built to numb you. Cash is built to wake you up. When you peel $400 bills out of a jar and watch that jar go nearly empty, your whole body tells you the truth about what that thing really costs. You will put half of it back on the shelf, every time. So you spend only what you can hold. You let the empty jar tell you no, so that you never have to argue with yourself. There is no fee for it. There is no interest on it. There is no fine print, and there is no stranger on the other end of it. It is just your own money, in your own hands, doing exactly what you tell it to do. That is the rule. It is plain. It costs nothing. And in 40 years of watching, it is the surest thing I have ever seen keep a family free. Now, here is how you make this work for your whole life, so the debt never grows back, and you never need a bank again. The one rule is the foundation. But a house needs more than a foundation to keep the rain out. So we build 4 walls around it. Each one is small. Each one costs you nothing but attention. And together they make a home that no lender can ever walk into. The first wall is the hardest, and it is this. The cards have to go. Not hidden, not frozen in a block of ice in the freezer, the way the clever folks on the internet tell you. Gone. Cut. A card in your wallet is an open door. And an open door will be walked through on your worst night, when you are tired and the deal looks good and the jar is empty. You cannot bail water out of a boat while the hole is still in the bottom, so you patch the hole first. People say you cannot live without a card. That is a story the machine taught you so well that you believe you thought of it yourself. Your great-grandmother raised 6 children without one. She used a thing called money, the kind you can count, the kind that when it is gone tells you the honest truth that you are finished spending for the week. That whisper costs the average family near $1,000 a year in interest alone. $1,000 for a whisper. Cut the cards and the whisper stops forever. The second wall keeps you from ever crawling back. You build a jar before you ever need it. Call it the rainy day jar. The roof leaks. The truck dies in February. The tooth cracks on a Sunday night. These are not surprises. They are certainties wearing the mask of surprise. The only real question is whether you have $500 set aside or whether you reach for a card at the worst possible moment and start the whole sickness over again. So every month, before anything fun, a few dollars go into that jar. 5, 10, whatever you can spare. You are not saving for a dream. You are building a wall between your family and the next loan. The day that jar holds $500, you have quietly fired the bank from your life. The emergency comes, and it will come, and you pay it in cash, and you feel nothing but calm. No phone call, no statement, no stranger to thank in the morning. The third wall is the cheapest, and it saves the most. It is the waiting rule. When you want a thing that is not food and not rent, you do not buy it that day. You write it down, and you wait. A small thing, 3 days. A big thing, 30 days. Most wants do not survive the wait. The fever passes. You walk back into that store a month later and wonder what on earth the fuss was about. The thing you were ready to put on a card. The thing that would have cost you $40 in interest before you ever finished paying it off. You find you did not even want it. Debt is almost never about need. Debt is about the speed of wanting, so you slow the wanting down. The machine makes its money in the heat of the moment, with the bright lights and the easy yes. You take the heat away, and the easy yes turns quietly into no. The fourth wall makes the whole thing stronger every year. It is the jar for the certainties. You know the truck needs new tires before winter. You know the property tax comes every fall. You know Christmas lands in December, the same as it has every year of your life. These are not emergencies. You can see them coming from a mile off. So you do not let them ambush you. You take the $400 you will need in November, and you set aside $35 of it every month starting now. By the time the bill arrives, the money is already standing there, waiting for it. The bill that breaks other families into debt does not even make you blink. You smile at it. You pay it from a jar that has been filling quietly all year. The lender never gets his foot in your door because there was never an open moment for him to step through. Let me put a number on what those 4 walls are worth in a single year. The cards were costing you near $1,000 a year in interest. That is gone now. The rainy day jar saves you from 1 panic loan a year, and 1 panic loan runs $300 in fees before it is ever paid off. Gone. The waiting rule kills maybe 4 foolish wants a year at $40 of interest each. Gone. Add it up. That is over $1,400 a year that used to leak straight out of your house and into the glass tower. $1,400 for nothing but paying attention. Now put it all together and see what you have built. You spend only what you can hold, so debt can never sneak in through a swipe. The cards are gone, so no new balance can grow. The rainy day jar stands guard, so no emergency can send you back to the tower. The waiting rule cools the wanting, so you stop digging the hole. And the jar for the certainties meets every known bill before it arrives, so nothing ever catches you short. That is not a budget. A budget is a list of no's that you break by March. This is a system. A budget tells you no, and you resent it. A system makes the no unnecessary, because the money is already where it belongs before you ever feel the want. And the quiet miracle is this: not one of these walls takes a degree. Not one of them takes $1 you do not already hold in your hand tonight. They take attention. They take a willingness to look at your real numbers without flinching. The bank is betting you will never look. Prove the bank wrong. Let me tell you about my grandfather, because he taught me the only money lesson that ever truly stuck. He had hands like oak roots. He built furniture, the slow kind, the kind that outlives the man who buys it. And he never owed a soul a single dime in his long life. I asked him once when I was a boy why he would not borrow to buy more wood, and build faster, and sell more, and have more. It seemed so obvious to me. Borrow a little, grow a lot. Everyone was doing it. The whole world was doing it. He set down his hand plane. He looked at me a good long while, and he said, "A borrowed dollar comes with a man attached to it. And that man does not go home at night. He sleeps in your house. He sits at your table. He is there when you wake up afraid at 3 in the morning, and he is still there when you finally fall back asleep. I will not feed a stranger at my own table for the rest of my life just so I can build a chair 1 year faster." I did not understand him then. I was young and the world was loud, and everyone around me was buying things they could not afford on roads I could not yet see the end of. It took me 20 years and more than one funeral to understand exactly what he meant. A debt is not a number on a page. A debt is a piece of your future already spent before you have even lived it. When you owe $11,000, you do not own a single one of the next 11,000 you will earn. They are promised. Your future mornings are already sold. The first fruit of your work belongs to a man 4 states away, who does not know your name and does not care if you are tired or sick or afraid. The world will tell you this is normal, that everyone carries a balance. Everyone has a car payment. Everyone owes somebody something. And that is true. That is exactly the point. They have made a leash feel like a lifestyle. They have wrapped the rope around so many necks so casually that you have stopped noticing it is a rope at all. You think it is just the weight of being a grown person. It is not. It is the weight of a hand you cannot see. I watched a neighbor go the other way. A good man, a hard worker. He borrowed for the bigger barn, then the bigger truck to match it. Each loan looked smart on its own. Then one bad season came, the way one bad season always comes, and the bank did not care that he was a good man. The bank cared about the number. They took all of it. He learned too late what my grandfather knew at 20. A borrowed dollar always brings a stranger home. But there is another way to live, and it is not new. It is very, very old. It is the plain way, the way of the family with the jar on the windowsill, the family that owes nothing. When you owe nothing, Every dollar you earn is yours. Every morning you rise for your own people and for no one else. You can take the lean week without fear. You can turn down the work that is beneath you. You can sit at your own table at night and know with a quiet certainty that no stranger sleeps in your house. You can look at a fine thing in a store window, want it, and walk away whole, because no part of your future is already promised to anyone else. That is not wealth. Plenty of poor men have it, and plenty of rich men never will. That is freedom. And here is the cruel trick at the center of it all. Freedom cannot be borrowed. The very act of borrowing to buy it destroys the only thing you were trying to buy. The new truck does not make you free. It makes you owned with a nicer view. My grandfather died with worn-out hands, a paid-off home, and a name every neighbor trusted on a handshake. He left no debt behind for anyone to clean up. He left chairs that his great-grandchildren sit in to this very day. He never earned much money in his life, but he kept nearly all of it because he never once let a stranger sit down at his table. That is the real choice in front of you tonight. It was never rich or poor. It is free or owned. The jars are only tools. They are just glass and paper. The real thing you are building, one quiet dollar at a time, is a morning that belongs to you and to no one else. So let me ask you plainly, the way I would if you were sitting across this table from me tonight. How much do you owe we right now? The whole number, not the fuzzy one you carry around, but the real one. And what is the one debt that scares you most, the one you do not like to think about on a Sunday night? And tell me this too, what state are you in? And what is the one bill that wakes you at 3 in the morning? Put it in the comments below. I read every one of these. The stories you send back are the reason I keep recording. Half the people watching owe more than they will ever admit out loud. Be the one with the courage to admit it. Next time, I am going to show you something that sounds impossible until you watch it work. How a plain family of 7 puts a child through life, the wedding, the first home, the lean years in between, without ever borrowing a single dollar for any of it. No student loan, no mortgage, no co-signed anything. There is a jar for it. There is always a jar. And there is one small number set aside the very week each child is born that does almost all of the work by the time that child is grown. It is far smaller than you would ever guess. I will show you the number and how the quiet years do all the rest. Until then, stay steady, stay free. And remember, the people who built this country with their hands knew how to keep what they earned. We are only just beginning to remember.